Okay, so my husband had a great story. He operated a remote fishing lodge in Alaska. Took some new guests, Jane and her husband Roger, out fishing on the second day of their trip. Normally, all the fishing's done from the boat, but the sockeye were in. Fishing for sockeye requires standing along the banks of a stream, as the fish make their way from the ocean back up to the lake they were born in to spawn. Lots of fun, but can be super slippery, standing on slimy moss-covered boulders, water splashing and crashing, fish are jumping. So the three of them are having a blast. Jane and Roger are really having a great time. Then it happens. While fighting her fish, Jane slips on the rocks, loses her balance, feet come out from under her, and she goes down hard, hitting her head on one of the boulders she had been standing on. Luckily, she didn't lose consciousness, but the men are understandably concerned. Jane's in her late 50s. They're 30 miles from medical help. She's now soaking wet, cold, bleeding, with a huge knot growing on her head. The guys calmly pack her into the boat, wrap her in blankets, and prepare for the 1 hour boat ride into town to get her checked by a doctor. After a few minutes in the boat, Jane starts looking wildly around, with big eyes and a panicked expression. My husband talks calmly to her, trying to get her to relax a bit. But Jane wouldn't have any of it. Where am I? What's going on? Who are you? Oh, my husband Dave realizes the situation is even more serious than he had thought. Jane, my husband says to her, "I'm Dave, your guide. This is your husband, Roger. You fell and hit your head, and Roger and I are taking you into town for stitches. Everything's okay." At this point, Jane felt the bandages on her head, looked around again, looked at my husband, looked at Roger, and burst out, "He's my husband? You've got to be shitting me. Lol."